What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? How we doing today? So this is another video that I'm doing. It's a series of videos where I'm just doing stream of consciousness and talking off of the cuff and trying to figure it out as I go. And there's a few thoughts that I've been wanting to play around with today. And one of them that just recently popped up into my head is the idea that we all have choices. And it came into my mind because I was reading the book A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And Viktor Frankl was a man who endured death camps, concentration camps in Nazi Germany. He was in Auschwitz. He was in a few other camps. And he endured the harsh conditions of, first and foremost, constantly being at threat. Constantly not knowing if you're going to die, seeing other people die, go to the gas chambers. And it was all up to fate. Like, it was just depending on some guard's mood that day, you could be dead. Very little food, breadcrumbs even. These people were emaciated. They were in cold, frigid temperatures, working without any clothes, really, not even shoes. Some people were just barefoot. They would all huddle together on these bunks, 8 or 9 of them, with one blanket on a piece of like plywood, trying to keep warm. And throughout this experience, he often found himself lost in bliss, thinking about his wife. I think it was his wife. Maybe it was his girlfriend. But he was thinking about her. And he had hope that one day he would see her again. And that's what kept him going. And, he figured out something very, very meaningful. That meaning itself is important to humans. And being a prisoner in Auschwitz, in those death camps, he realized that they could take everything away from him: the food, the clothing, the comfort, for many, the will to live. But the one thing they couldn't take away from him was the power to choose how to think, act, and feel in that moment. And I think that's a super powerful message, because it's like all of us are kind of trapped in this system in some certain way, right? A lot of people want to escape the system. They want to escape the matrix. And there's books like this and stories like this that remind me that, there's nowhere to actually go. But the point is that we must learn how to be sovereign within the system. We need to learn how to, in the midst of all the chaos and all of the bullshit that we see, all of the suffering and pain that we see others in, and even find ourselves in sometimes, we have to remain sovereign and understand that we are still free to choose how we show up in this world, how we think and how we believe, and what we're going to accept. You know what I mean? We can't just give in. And there's a part of us that we got to even just stop negotiating with ourselves. We got to stop, telling ourselves we're going to do one thing, and then that little devil on your shoulder, right as you're about to do it, tries to talk you out of it, and actually has some really good reasons as why you shouldn't do it. It's like, we could do this, but we don't necessarily need to, and it's not going to hurt. We start coming up with all these ideas and excuses, and that little part of us gets overtaken, right? And that's a very crucial point. I think that's a very, very crucial point, especially in awareness, because if you can become aware in that moment when those things are, when that little negotiation is happening, you realize that you're trying to talk yourself out of comfort. And this is, this is important. It's important to notice this, because if you just realize in that moment that you just don't want to be uncomfortable, and you're trying to come up with excuses to make yourself feel better, and you just allow yourself to lean into that uncomfortable feeling, that discomfort, lean into it and really feel it and accept it, and know that it's not going to kill you. It's not going to be some kind of like death sentence, you know what I mean? It's just discomfort. And once you learn to accept that discomfort, it kind of melts away. It kind of just completely melts away. So yeah, man, there's a lot going on in the world. And I just really wanted to stop in. That was just a quick little message that I wanted to shout out today, because I'd been thinking about it, and I really just wanted to extrapolate on that a little bit. And so I appreciate you sitting with me and listening to me ramble. So all right, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.